Hey guys, this is Man Shark Sub LPs. I'm Sub, this is Europa Universalis IV, and this is the AI playthrough episode 7. I think it was 7. Bugger it, let's get going. So, as usual, France is dicking around and being stupid. I don't understand why they've allied with Turkestan. I would have tried to ally with Persia. Though maybe Persia doesn't like it because, great powers and all that sort of thing. That being said, Persia is allied to Volga, Bulgaria and Great Britain. Themselves great powers. Let's have a look at the, not the menu, the ledger. While we're at it, score comparison, thank you very much. Over time, France is still leading, followed by Ming, then Persia, etc., etc. Egypt is actually the up-and-comer, as it were. Cool. Always interesting to see that sort of stuff. Let's have a quick look around the world. What's happening down in Africa? Not a whole lot. Looks like Egypt's taken some more land, that sort of thing. South America is pretty boring. The only excitement is Castile doing something over there on the east coast. Hopefully they do a little bit more. Central and North. Yeah, kind of a whatever situation, to be brutally honest. Great Britain doing a little bit more expansion. They've made contact with the Aztecs, so that could be interesting in the future. And Portugal just doing its thing. No other colonizers. Asia, Mongolia has lost to the Oirats. Lost some land there, buddies, and the Chagatai have emerged from nowhere. And it looks like Japan's going to reunify Japan. Which, hey, that's cool. And back to Europe and Central Asia. Bit of a shame about the Oirats taking bits of Mongolia. I like Mongolia. It's cool. Bengal's looking big. Afghanistan's looking big. Afghanistan is Mesh ally of Canada, which I don't really think was a good idea. I've been looking at taking bits off them, to be honest. Maybe I'm biased because of, the last one. Oh, they do have aristocratic ideas, so... Fuck. Jesus Christ, do they all fucking take aristocratic ideas? Nope, not all of them. That being said, fuck aristocratic ideas. Yeah, it looks like France has actually lost a fair amount of its lands that it was picking up around the place. Big war there for Great Britain. What's it involving? They're attacking Portugal in the British conquest of Anjou. So Anjou must be something in here? I have no idea where it is. But it's definitely not something that Portugal occupy. Ah, it's something that Brittany occupies in there. Good luck to you, Britain. Good luck to you. Wouldn't mind if Castile... Oh. Castile will probably not expand in the future, to be honest. This is their only port. I think my headset just died, but hopefully we're back up. And as I was saying, if that one didn't come through, Castile only has one port, and it's not even on the mainland. So, sucks to be them. Anyway, I believe last episode, which was, like 5 minutes ago for me, so I'm right, we were talking about, like running a game and GM expectations and player expectations. As I mentioned, it's very important that as both a GM and a player, you explain what you're doing and what the intent of what you're doing is. Particularly as a player, I find. As a GM, it's more important that you explain what the scene is. I'm guilty of this as much as anyone, but when I, A lot of GMs explain the scene, but then their players don't necessarily understand the particular elements of it. And it'll be something that as a GM you never thought anybody would ever have some sort of differing opinion on, like the window thing I discussed last time. I mean, it seems obvious to me that nobody's going to have a full wall window in a city that's been prepared for war for the last, 2 centuries. But, yeah, apparently not. So, you've got to sort of go over that, and like in the current Shadowrun game, I'm going to have to sort of emphasize that while they're in Abu Dhabi, I'm not going to make them roll survival checks like they did in the desert, but they really shouldn't be wearing the really heavy armor out and about during the daytime. Incidentally, this is going up on the Thursday before the next Shadowrun game, so guys, if you're listening, don't wear heavy armor in the daytime in Abu Dhabi, because I will totally give you stress damage. So this is another thing that I'm going to have to convey to them, like, in the middle of our little show and tell thing. Just a little bit of a, hey guys, by the way, while you're not under desert survival conditions, it's still really hot, and heat stress is still a thing. Because some of them have, like, completely legal, but, and forgive me guys, but munchy as fuck armor. Like, absolutely just munchkined out. And it's quite plain from looking at it that you guys, or my players for the rest of you, have either done a bit of a Google search to find out, hey, how do I get the highest armor? Or you really scoured the book for the gamiest things possible. And that's another issue that you've got to deal with as a GM. Is France in war with somebody else, or is it just a whole bunch of rebellions? Just a whole bunch of rebellions. Yeah, so something else you've got to deal with as a GM is gamey characters, like gamey activity. Let's try and use a D&D example. One of the famous D&D examples. The Grapple Monk. You can, in D&D, create a monk character who is just the best in the world at grappling people. It's fairly easy to do because most of the monk stuff is innate. Like, you don't need particular items to get it to happen. Items help, but most of the monk stuff just happens as they do. Which, hey, that's cool and all that sort of thing. But, yeah, it just encourages this sort of behavior. I've never played a monk. I don't know anybody who has actually played a monk. Most of the time I'm running the game, and when I'm playing it, I have more interest in playing like a wizard or a fighter or a paladin, that sort of thing. But yeah, it is very easy to make a monk who all he does is grapple. And the problem there is that he's so hyper-specialized in this, like the character, the monk, is so hyper-specialized in this particular vein that if anything comes at him that cannot be grappled, or that cannot be defeated with a grapple, he can't do it. That's fair enough, you might say. He's got at least three other party members that can deal with it. And, when something that can grapple comes along, bang, it's grappled. It's done, sort of thing. The problem there for the GM... Well, let's run through the player problem first. The problem there for the player is that when they're not grappling, they have nothing to do, and the player is bored. So, Portugal, Persia, okay. Couple of big wars going on there. Defending against Great Britain and defending against Volga, Bulgaria. Cool. Yeah, so the player will get bored. because we actually had this issue with our troll character in Shadowrun before I made him re-roll it, because he basically optimized for grenade launching. And grenades in Shadowrun are OP, and they're even more OP when you spec for them. So, and it comes back to the Grapple Monk. The Grapple Monk can end any encounter, any combat encounter where the opponent can be grappled. Because you grapple them, you pin them, and you just slowly deal them HP damage until they die or get choked out. They can't do anything to break the grapple. They can't do anything while they're in that grapple. And nobody wants to sit through like 20 rounds of damage being dealt to something which can't even do anything back. I mean, yeah, it's still got a 5% chance of getting out because it could roll a 20 on its roll and, you know, you could not. But that's a thing. And the only way you can combat a grapple-based monk in combat, like combated in combat, I know, a little bit redundant there, the only way you can actually combat that is to use things that are specialized in grappling. Like monsters that all they do is grapple. They get automatic grapple and things like that. And those things exist. But those things are supposed to exist as like a little something to throw at your players to, you know, mix things up. It turns out that when you throw that at your players, all it does is turn the encounter poorly, because auto grapples and things which can, like, you know, automatically grapple people and succeed at those grapple checks has the same issues as the Grapple Monk, in that the player is now locked down, can't do anything except slowly get ground to death. Yeah, his buddies can help out, but, you know, good luck. And the issue there is that the player can't do anything, because, you know, the player wants to feel like they've got some sort of impact on what happens to their character. A bit of a reformed issue in France. Anyway. So the Grapple Monk player is bored out of combat because they can't do anything that isn't grappling, they can't negotiate, they can't talk to people, they can't do anything that isn't grappling. They're bored in combat because the only thing they can do is grapple. They could literally not turn up to the game and they would have the exact same effect on the encounter. Assuming that somebody, you know, just ran their character for them, or, you know, you assume that their character did like what it always does. And that's an issue. If a player turning up doesn't actually affect what happens, I mean, this is from a pure character interaction standpoint. I'm sure the player themselves would have, you know, little things to say about events that might get other people to react differently, but that's neither here nor there. You're talking about what the character does, the character's interaction, and how that affects the player. Wow, Imperial Authority has jumped the hell up. 21. It should be jumping around the place because the Reformation's still being a bit of a bitch. Is podcast still the... yeah. Good on you, lads, and looks like they'll stay it for a bit. France has no hope. We've got female heirs all over the place. Okay, they're attacking Narbonne. That's cool. Female heirs all over the place, and oh, actually, no, we've got a male bloke now, Kaiser Albrecht. Cool. Unfortunately, female heir. Old female heir, so maybe it won't be an issue. But yeah, so that's the problem with the Grapple Monk. You either deal with it mechanically by throwing things that can grapple, in which case you might say, hey, that sounds like a good idea, but then you've got 3 other members of the party to care about. Now, if I throw in, say, some sort of tentacled monster of doom and rape, trigger warning by the way, into the encounter just to deal with Grapple Monk, but then somebody else gets close to it, I can have it do one of 2 things. Ignore the person who has got close to it and is presumably attacking it, in favor of going for a different target, which smacks of, you know, GM Fiat and, you know, cries of hacks around the table. Or I can have it attack that one person and completely obliterate them. the same issue you've got when you put in heavy hitting things and, there are paper wizards running around. But that's expected. The wizard knows to stay the fuck out of the way. In this case, the players may have some sort of meta knowledge that maybe they should let the grapple guy deal with the grapple things. But that doesn't necessarily happen, and relying on meta knowledge is a bad idea as a player or a GM. So we've kind of strayed from why it's bad for the player to why it's bad for the GM, and it really does share a lot of similarities there. The best way to deal with that is to go to the player and say, look, this is what I did with our grenade launching troll, after a little bit of back and forth argumentation, of course. You go to them and say, look, with your character, you are going to be bored. There's no way around it. You're not going to have anything to do. You think that combat's going to be exciting because you can, stomp face. But this is actually what will happen. And to use a more 32 Imperial Authority, kicking it up. Ooh. Who is this? Finland is now the HRE. Or the Holy Roman Emperor. Really? Amazing. Must have been an accident. Oh, excuse me. Oh, looks like Britain is colonizing down at Rio de la Plata. Wasn't it where they started colonizing in my other game as well? They might have a tendency to do that. Odd. And of course, more colonization up here. Not yet at war with the Aztecs. It's cool, it's cool. Looks like they're not going to give any more land to Newfoundland. They're basically saying, hey, do it your fucking selves, boys. That being said, Newfoundland can. They've got colonial and expansion ideas. So, the issue, I highlight the issue in the very first game of Shadowrun that we were playing, the Shadowrun campaign that we're playing now. It isn't the first game of Shadowrun that we've ever played, so whatever. But there were 2 combat encounters. They weren't planned combat encounters because I didn't have enough time to plan the damned mission. I just sort of freewheeled it a little bit. But, I'd still put the guys there. There were 2 combat encounters. They did roll initiative on them, but the combat, and they actually stayed in combat for much longer than necessary, like 3 rounds or 3 turns or whatever it is. But the combat was over the second, not even the second, but the moment the troll heavy weapons guy had his turn, the combat was over. And simply because all he'd do was launch one of his customed up knockout grenades with like a 10-meter radius at them. Bang! Suddenly they're carrying 10 boxes of stun. That knocks out most people. The reason the combat went on for longer than it should have was because the guys were like, when your stun boxes are full, you're knocked out, but I play it up as being a little bit of incapacitated. And these guys were like on the ground twitching and that sort of stuff and choking and all that sort of thing. So the mage continued to stun bolt them until they stopped moving. Spoiler, that meant that they were dead. But yeah, anyway, that's the problem. I mean, the second the troll got his hands on an action, boom, combat's over. Unless I come at them with multiple guys or guys that are specifically designed to be immune to the knockout grenades, in which case he just switches to normal grenades and off he goes. Unless that Perm's getting the shit kicked out of it by Volga, Bulgaria. That was for war over. Ah, purging heresy. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, unless I actually specifically design the encounters to say, hey, fuck what you've done, like, unless I specifically design them to combat the individual character, there's no way of dealing with that, other than to not have combat encounters, or to split the goddamn party, and that is always a terrible idea. So yeah, that's this is turning less into me commenting about what the AI is doing and more me talking about game design and Shadowrun. Which, hey, I'm fine with. Hopefully you guys are fine with it as well. I mean, I'm just saying what comes to mind, really. I really wish Castile had gotten, like, more colonies than... Is that their only province now? Surely not. It's their capital, so yes, that is Castile's... Castile wiped off the mainland. So did Portugal. Did Portugal lose? Oh hey, is that Brabant? Brabant has started colonizing. Nope, there's Portugal. Where's your... Oh, okay, no, they've still got a little bit of land somewhere up here. This bit? Yeah, okay, okay. Good. And they'd have these islands anyway. Get back over to Europe, not England. Back at war. And France, you're back at war as well. Arabia and Delhi. And they're attacking them. Oh, Abyssinia is attacking Arabia. Drop Abyssinia, guys. Not worth it. But yes, as mentioned last episode, next session of Shadowrun will be an actual proper Shadowrun. It's not exactly going to be a standard infiltrate and that sort of thing, but I did pull the basic details out of one of the Shadowrun books, so fuck yous, it's a real Shadowrun. Anybody who's seen the well, you guys should all know about Archer by now, but the Archer episodes featuring Babu the Jaguar or Jaguar should kind of get the idea of what this Shadowrun's going to be about. But hey, they'll find it out when they get into it. Should be interesting. Should be a lot of fun. And it's not like that's a spoiler, because on the event page where I've invited them all to the particular event, there's a picture of Babu. That being said, they didn't twig that they were going to Arabia at the very first session, because even though I had the event location listed as somewhere in Riyadh, the Riyadh Central train station, I believe. But yeah, didn't tweak to that. Looks like Volga Bulgaria took a huge chunk out of Perm and converted them to Protestantism. Protestantism? Protestant? Whatever. Good on them. France is sort of dealing with its rebellion issues. It's mainly because they've got land that isn't Catholic. And I mean, yeah, that's a problem for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 allies, they are way over their cap. Same with the royal marriages, but they're still chewing up Diplo. Not so much admin. Invest in some admin. Jeez. Come on, guys. Good. Portugal's made landfall in South America. Great Britain's expanding a little bit. Very nice, very nice. We want more colonies. Come on, guys. And sort of expand down here as well. None of you are doing shit. Let's see, Afghanistan actually has a mission to get down into the Spice Isles, so that should be interesting. A lot of them are going to have that mission. It's a fairly standard one that pops up. So who are the major power players now? I'd like to say that France is a power player in Europe, and to be honest, they are, because they do own a lot of it. But They're fragmented. The prestige is a major issue. Great Britain is looking fairly strong. It's doing its thing. It's got some colonies going on. Oh, excuse me, yawning a bit there. Volga Bulgaria is obviously a massive power in the east. Vladimir is actually doing pretty well for itself as well. But yeah, Volga Bulgaria, Persia in the Middle East, Arabia as well. In fact, Egypt, Arabia and Persia all looking good. Mali's looking good in Africa. Over here, I'm honestly not sure. It looks like Korea's doing pretty well for itself, and Japan as well. They've got some land they need to take back off Ming and Uichi, but they've gotten a little bit back off Korea from the look of it. Yep. Ming is difficult to read. As are Bengal, Kannada, and now Afghanistan, to be honest. I mean, I'm not even sure what's going on there. Afghanistan didn't do too well in our game. They were just a little nation. Kannada and Bengal obviously did, but we had to deal with a lot of stuff in India by the time we got there. But yeah, Volga Bulgaria is looking good. Aristocratic, innovative, and religious ideas. They're German? No, they're Bulgar. Right, so they're not even German. They're a different culture group entirely. That being said, they have national ideas, which is the default generic idea group and sucks utter balls. It does. It's just plain and simple. It's shit. 2 wars for France. 3 wars. No, that's improving relations. 2 wars. You're attacking Ungvar. Well, the Shelland was attacking Ungvar. And the Marienburg is attacking Silesia. That's cool. Anyway, let's have a look at these national ideas in Volga Bulgaria. So they've got 3 of them. Well, they've got 2 traditions, which are what you get by default, which is stability cost -10 and advisor cost -10%. Then they've got 3 of the ideas. The first one is plus 2.5% discipline. That's alright. Second one plus 5% tax. Yeah, it's alright. Third one -10% merc cost. Yeah, not great for me. Great for people who use mercs. But you can see they're all very generic, standardized, like, oh yeah, have some of this sort of thing. Whereas if we look at the proper, like, English ideas, bang, naval ability, more tax, like a lot more tax than Volga Bulgaria are giving it. Another diplomatic relation, bang, trade and lightship ability. We'll look at some, I think Mali will be running off German ideas. No, Malian ideas. Income from vassals, production efficiency, manpower, discipline, and navy tradition. It's all cool stuff. Persian ideas, manpower, goods produced, discipline, merchant power when they're in inland things. I mean, and again, if you look at the French national ideas, it blows everything out of the water. I mean, that 5th one, is it? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th one, the native trading principles. Not that great for this game's France because, well, whoops, that was not what I wanted to click. That was. Because they don't have any sort of colonists. They just have no colonists. You kind of think maybe native trading principles should have given them a colonist, but you know, if they're kind of expected to do it, you're kind of expected to pick up the idea groups. Those are really easy to get. Oh, what's happening here? Brabant is colonizing Florida. Good on them. Portugal moved into Guantanamo. Come on, someone attack somebody in Native America. Native America. North America. Or in America. That would be good. Yeah, Korea looks like it's stomping Mongolia. And now they're at war with Japan. Why? Oh, Korea was trying to attack at you. Japan should win that, even though they're also at war with Ming and Chagatai. Chagatai doesn't matter, but Ming. They're currently winning it. Quite well, actually. Headset's back. Hopefully it didn't die properly, but who knows? That being said, it is the end of the episode. You know, we've hit that half-hour mark. So let me pause the game. Just check out what the HRE's doing down here. Just 15%. Shame they've lost some of that authority. And yeah, we'll call it quits for this episode. So, you know, like it if you liked it, subscribe, you know, etc, etc. Leave comments. And I've been Sub. You have been yourselves. Later.